What if the movie that terrified you most secretly began as a laugh-out-loud comedy?
Or, the most intense thriller you watched was actually a profound social commentary, just cleverly disguised.
By the end of this deep dive, you'll see every film differently, we promise.
Yeah, we're going to pull back the curtain on how modern stories are, secretly built to surprise and engage you.
And you'll discover something about cinematic evolution that, honestly, 99% of people simply don't recognize.
Welcome to the deep dive.
Today, we're unpacking one of the most fascinating shifts in contemporary filmmaking, the radical rise of genre hybridization.
We've got your sources here, articles, research, critical analyses, and our mission really is to reveal why filmmakers are blending genres now.
And how audiences are reacting. What does it all mean?
Exactly. What this means for the future of how stories get told on screen. Think of it as your shortcut to truly understanding the cinematic landscape today.
Absolutely. Because gone are the days of neatly categorizing films into just one box.
Right. Totally gone. We're going to explore how a single movie can now make you laugh, terrify you, question reality.
And break your heart, sometimes all within the same scene.
It's a genuinely exciting time for storytelling.
You know that feeling when you start a movie expecting one thing? Maybe a lighthearted comedy, something easy.
Yeah, just something to unwind with.
And then suddenly, maybe halfway through, you're literally on the edge of your seat. There's this knot in your stomach.
Uh-huh.
And you realize it's become this tense thriller, maybe even heading into horror territory.
That whiplash.
That intentional tonal whiplash isn't accidental. It feels like it's the new language of cinema.
It really is. It's like expecting a refreshing glass of water, and suddenly it tastes like this perfectly blended, surprisingly complex cocktail.
It might catch you off guard.
But in a good way, usually, if it's done well.
Right. So let's really dig into this first idea. The whole concept of pure, unadulterated genres seems to be fading fast.
It does. It feels like traditional boundaries are now, well, they're less like rigid rules.
More like gentle suggestions, scribbled in the margins.
Exactly, gentle suggestions. And what's truly fascinating here is how filmmakers are deliberately using this. They're manipulating genre expectations to keep you, the audience, off balance.
They don't want you to get comfortable.
Not really, no. They want to constantly challenge your perceptions. It's not a mistake, it's a strategy.
Keeping the audience off balance.
Yeah.
What does that do for a viewer, psychologically? I mean, does it make you more engaged, or is there a risk?
Well, it's definitely a delicate balance, but when it works, when it's executed well, it creates a much deeper, more memorable experience.
How so?
Because you're not just passively watching anymore. You're actively trying to figure out, okay, where is the story going? Which inherently makes you more engaged, right?
Right, that makes sense. The subversion itself pulls you in.
Precisely. It's a tool for deeper immersion.
Okay, so for a core example, I guess we have to talk about Bong Joon-ho's Parasite.
Oh, absolutely. You pretty much have to. It's the perfect case study.
It famously starts as this brilliant social comedy. You've got the Kim family, their whole elaborate con.
And it provides genuine laughs. It's clever. It's funny. You're kind of rooting for them in their mischief.
Totally. But then, almost imperceptibly at first, it starts to shift.
Yeah, and as film scholar Emily McDaniels notes in one of the sources we looked at, the movie just exceeds classification within one single genre.
It moves so seamlessly.
It really does, from dark comedy to thriller, and then undeniably into horror territory, often within the same scene.
That scene on the stairs.
Oh yeah. The brilliance of Parasite isn't just its story, but how it uses each genre element like a scalpel.
A tool, like you said.
Exactly. A sharp tool to explore really complex themes. Class consciousness, economic inequality.
The comedy makes their deception almost endearing at first.
Right. And the thriller builds that incredible tension around their secret.
And then the horror finale just forces you to confront the brutal reality underneath it all.
It's a masterclass, truly, in how genre can elevate theme, not just label a film.
Okay, so that's using genre elements as tools. That tonal whiplash in Parasite is almost its own character. But how do you do that with something more established? Like, take film noir. How do you make that feel modern?
That's a great question, because this whole evolution isn't just about brand new stories. It's also very much about updating classic formulas.
Reinventing them.
Reinventing them for contemporary audiences, yeah. Audiences who bring a whole different set of, experiences and expectations to the table.
If we connect that to the bigger picture then, It shows how these timeless storytelling structures,
Yeah.
the hero's journey, the mystery, whatever, they can adapt.
They morph to reflect current societal concerns. It's about making familiar narratives feel fresh and resonant again without losing that core appeal.
Okay, so back to noir. Classic film noir, post-WWII. You think moral ambiguity, smoky jazz bars, cynical heroes.
Definitely. But neo-noir, which really started picking up steam in the late 70s and onwards, became much more sophisticated. It wasn't just homage.
It injected new anxieties,
Yeah.
new aesthetics.
Precisely. Look at a film like Nicholas Winding Refn's Drive. It perfectly blends what some critics call art house sensibilities with B-movie aesthetics.
So you get both, character depth
And visceral thrills, yeah. Almost poetic violence sometimes. It's a really striking example of updating those classic elements.
One source put it really well, saying it traded rotary phones for burner cells, trench coats for hoodies, and smoky jazz bars for CCTV-lit cityscapes.
That's spot on. And that technological and aesthetic update lets neo-noir tackle modern anxieties. Things like surveillance culture, digital identity, urban alienation.
Like in Nightcrawler.
Exactly. Nightcrawler or Denis Villeneuve's Prisoners. They retain that noir fatalism, but the context is entirely contemporary.
So it's not just putting a modern coat of paint on it. The updates actually reflect deeper societal shifts.
Yes, absolutely. The core feeling might remain, but the skin adapts to our current fears.
Okay, got it. Now, another blend that feels counterintuitive, maybe. Horror comedy. Laughter and fear seem like opposites.
They do seem like opposites, right? But think about what Robert Bloch, who wrote Psycho, said. Laughter and fear are opposite sides of the same coin.
How so?
Well, both rely heavily on surprise, both often exploit discomfort, and both get a strong physical reaction from the audience, a jump or a laugh.
Ah, okay. The mechanics are similar.
They're fundamentally linked, yeah. And Shaun of the Dead is just the prime example of nailing that blend.
Oh, classic.
It totally revolutionized the zombie genre, not just by being funny, but by using that humor to explore deeper themes. Responsibility, friendship, growing up. All in a zombie apocalypse.
And it works as all three, right? Comedy, horror, character study. It doesn't mock the genre.
No, it celebrates it.
Yep.
While still delivering genuine scares and actually some pretty poignant emotional moments.
It really speaks to, I think, a growing audience sophistication. We're so saturated with media now.
Definitely. Viewers appreciate films that can fulfill and subvert expectations simultaneously.
Like Get Out, or Ready or Not.
Exactly. Those films take the horror-comedy hybrid even further, using it for incredibly sharp social commentary. They make you think while you're jumping and laughing.
Okay, so humor amplifies fear and critique. That plays on emotions. But what about mashing up two genres that seem totally at odds in setting and tone, like science fiction and westerns?
Yeah, that seems like the ultimate clash, doesn't it?
It really does. How does that even begin to work?
Well, it seems wild, but they actually share some surprising fundamental narrative DNA.
Really? Like what?
Think about it. Frontier settings, the struggle for survival, civilization versus wildness, using force to solve problems. These are core elements in both.
Huh. I hadn't quite thought of it that way.
And what's really insightful, one of your sources puts it beautifully. Western is as much of a style of storytelling as it is a setting.
Okay, so it's about the archetypes.
Exactly. You can take those classic Western archetypes, the stoic hero, the corrupt officials, the isolated outposts, and just transplant them into outer space.
Like Firefly.
Firefly did it masterfully. It felt authentic because the storytelling structure was Western, even if the setting was sci-fi. It felt familiar and new at the same time.
And even more recently, something like NOPE.
No PE is another great example. Jordan Peele cleverly weaves together a sci-fi spectacle, classic Western story beats, and that unsettling horror vibe. It creates something richer, more complex.
That comments on our relationship with spectacle itself, using those blended genres.
Precisely. It's taking the spirit of the Western and giving it this entirely new playground.
Okay, but what happens when the platforms themselves, the places we watch movies, start influencing this? How does the streaming revolution fit in?
Oh, that's a huge piece of the puzzle. Streaming platforms have fundamentally reshaped the whole landscape, not just the money side, but the creative possibilities too.
How so? Because traditional movies needed clear labels.
Yeah, pretty much. Theatrical releases often demanded films fit into neat, marketable categories. Studios needed to know how to sell it in a 30-second trailer, right?
Easy labels for posters.
Exactly. Audiences needed to know what they were getting. But streaming platforms, they need tons of diverse content. They can afford to take more risks.
Risks on stuff that's harder to categorize.
Yes. experimental stuff, genre-bending projects that might really struggle to find a big theatrical audience.
Like, Netflix has embraced this, right? With films like It's What's Inside.
That's a perfect example. It blends horror and sci-fi in this really mind-bending way.
Super suspenseful.
Yeah, and a film like that, defying easy labels, might have trouble getting wide distribution in theaters. But on streaming, people discover it. It thrives.
And the whole binge-watching thing helps too, right?
Absolutely. It allows for more gradual genre shifts within a series. You can ease the audience into it.
Like Black Mirror. Every episode is different.
Or The Sandman. That show weaves together drama, dark fantasy, horror, even historical fiction, all under one narrative umbrella.
So it creates this feedback loop. Sophisticated audiences want adventurous stuff.
Which encourages adventurous creators, which leads to even more sophisticated, hybridized shows and movies.
Yeah. And looking ahead, what trends are emerging from this?
Well, technology is playing a role. Virtual production, like they used in The Mandalorian.
Throw you on stage, yeah.
And even AI-assisted storytelling tools are starting to enable even more complex narratives, and audiences are driving it.
Especially younger viewers, more media literate.
Definitely. They demand these complex, genre-fluid stories. Plus, global streaming means cross-cultural hybridization is huge. Parasite's success proved there's a worldwide hunger for stories beyond the old Hollywood formulas.
We could even see what interactive stories, transmedia.
Totally. Imagine a story starting as, say, a thriller film.
Continuing as a mystery in a video game.
And maybe concluding as, I don't know, a VR drama. The boundaries aren't just blurring, they're becoming permeable.
Okay, but it can't all be perfect. There must be criticisms. Right?
Oh, for sure. It's not without its critics. Some argue it's just a crutch.
A crutch? How?
Like, just superficial style changes, masking weak storytelling, trying to be edgy just for the sake of it.
That raises a really important question then. Does the genre element actually serve the story? Or is it just decoration?
That's the key distinction. Successful hybrids use each element purposefully, like Parasite, where every shift advances the plot or deepens character.
Whereas less successful ones just feel messy.
Right. Yeah, like they're just throwing genre spaghetti at the wall, hoping something sticks, without understanding how the elements should work together.
And there's a risk of just confusing the audience if the shifts are too jarring.
Definitely. If it's too abrupt or feels unmotivated. And there's an ongoing debate. Does too much blending dilute the power of individual genres? Does noir lose its punch if it's also a comedy?
Plus, the marketing challenge you mentioned earlier.
It's real. How do you sell a film that defies easy categorization? It's what's inside. Despite good reviews, apparently struggled with that. Studios are still figuring out how to pitch these complex creations.
Okay, but what if the next boundary isn't just genre, but reality itself?
Now you're getting into really mind-bending territory. The hybrid documentary.
This is where things get tricky, right? Deliberately blurring reality and fiction.
It is tricky, but it's not entirely new, actually. Chris Marker's film Sans Soleil from 1983 was a pioneer.
Sans Soleil. How did that work?
It used real-life footage, documentary images, but constructed this narrative around them that felt, well, unreal, yet somehow familiar. One critic called it a W.G. Sebald book in cinematic form.
That's a deep cut. Sebald. Blending fiction, history, photos.
Exactly. It captures that meditative quality, questioning memory and truth by putting seemingly factual images next to poetic, maybe fictionalized narration. It makes you question the image itself.
Okay, that's fascinating. What does that look like today? Maybe more confrontational?
Well, modern examples like Joshua Oppenheimer's The Act of Killing push this way further.
The one where they have the perpetrators reenact?
Yeah. Having war criminals from Indonesia's mid-1960s genocide reenact murders they committed, but in the style of Hollywood movies they love.
Wow, that's intense.
It raises profound questions about documentary truth, the reliability of memory, even the viewer's own complicity in watching. It forces you to grapple with what factual reporting even means.
So using fictional techniques might actually be a more powerful way to get at deeper, maybe more uncomfortable truths sometimes. It sounds paradoxical.
Precisely. It can be. In some contexts, it's about giving voice where none existed.
Like in Brazilian cinema, one source mentioned.
Exactly. Using hybrid forms to give a platform to oppressed peoples whose voices have been excluded.
So the fictional elements help convey emotional truths, lived experiences.
Sometimes better than purely factual reporting could. These films challenge you, the viewer. They make you question not just what you're seeing, but your whole understanding of reality versus representation.
Okay, so wrapping this all up, what does this explosion of genre bending mean for us, for filmmaking?
I think we're genuinely witnessing the birth of a new cinematic language, more flexible, more sophisticated.
The best hybrids aren't just mixing things randomly.
No, they're creating entirely new forms of expression that just couldn't exist within those old, rigid boxes. Think about Parasite again.
It needed all those genres.
It absolutely did. It couldn't tell that complex story about class consciousness effectively as just one thing. The combination created something unique, something greater than the sum of its parts.
And this evolution kind of reflects our world now, doesn't it? More complex, more interconnected.
Exactly. Audiences seem to crave stories that capture multiple facets of experience at the same time. It feels like a democratization of storytelling, too.
Letting more diverse voices experiment and challenge us. It really is an exciting time to be watching movies.
Yeah, it is.
The revolution in genre and hybrid storytelling isn't just about entertainment, is it? It feels like it's expanding the very possibilities of what cinema can do, pushing us to ask.
What story can't we tell when all the rules are off the table?
That's all for today's deep dive into the fascinating world of genre hybridization. If this sparked your curiosity about the magic woven into modern cinema,
And we hope it did.
make sure you're subscribed wherever you listen.
Because next time, we're taking an even deeper dive. We're going under the hood of something that influences every single show you stream.
Oh, what's that?
We're looking at streaming algorithms, how they are subtly and sometimes really not so subtly influencing the actual narrative structure of the shows you binge watch.
Wow, shaping the stories themselves.
Shaping what you see next, and maybe even how those stories get told. You won't believe how much they're steering the ship.
Okay, you really don't want to miss that one. Until then, keep questioning what you watch. Keep pushing boundaries.
And remember, the most interesting stories often live in the spaces between categories.
We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.